Arthur was a horologist. He didn't just fix watches. He resurrected timepieces that kings had worn. His world was one of meticulous, microscopic precision. A world of microns, of steady hands, and of predictable, comforting rhythm. His wife, Eleonora, was not. Eleonora was a curator. She curated their house, a minimalist cavern of white marble and greige linen. She curated her friends, a rotating cast of people with silent vowels in their names. And most importantly, she curated her brand, a sterile online aesthetic that had 1.2 million followers. Arthur, with his loop and his tiny brass gears, was a quaint, antique accessory to her. The first crack in his precise world was not a text message. It was a smell. He came home one Tuesday, his hands smelling faintly of cleaning solvent and old oil. The house was silent, but the air was wrong. His study, his sanctuary, was contaminated. He sniffed. Eleonora used a $300 Santal diffuser. This was not Santal. This was oceanic musk, a scent so aggressively synthetic it smelled like a dolphin had drowned in a bucket of cheap cologne. He stood perfectly still. His eyes scanned the room. Everything was in its place. The rare books, the antique sextant, Wait. He walked to his desk, his prized Japanese inkwell. He exclusively used Kiri Same, Misty Rain, black. He dipped a testing sheet. The ink that bled onto the paper was a vibrant, offensive Kona blue. Someone had used his pen, someone who smelled like a discount whale. He did not confront. Confrontation was messy. It was imprecise. He investigated. He checked the smart home logs. Eleonora was at restorative yoga every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Yet the thermostat logs showed that at 2:15 p.m., 2:30 p.m., and 2:45 p.m. every Tuesday for 6 weeks, the temperature in the master bedroom had been manually raised 2 degrees, then lowered. The final piece. He went to the kitchen. Eleonora was obsessed with a $6,000 German knife set, so sharp it could split a philosophical argument. He looked at his prized Aogami super blue carbon steel utility knife. He pulled out his loop. There on the blade was the faint, unmistakable green-yellow stain of citrus. Eleonora knew one must never, ever cut citrus with high carbon steel. It ruins the patina. It causes an immediate oxidative reaction.
She knew. But the man of the oceanic musk, did not. He had clearly, barbarically, sliced a lime for his cocktail. When Eleonora returned, radiating curated wellness, Arthur was waiting. He wasn't holding a phone with text messages. He was holding the knife. He used the Aogami for a lime, Arthur said, his voice flat. Eleonora's perfectly constructed composure didn't crack. It shattered. It wasn't the accusation of the affair. It was the specificity of the evidence. It was the realization that he knew her transgression by the patina on a blade. The divorce was swift. Eleonora called it a conscious uncoupling of our curated spaces. Arthur called it a logistical adjustment. She kept the marble house, the car, and the German knives. She was generous. Arthur kept his loop, his tools, and the Aogami knife. He moved into the small apartment above his clock shop. And as he sat there, meticulously polishing the citrus stain from the blade, he didn't feel anger. He felt imbalance. The world was out of alignment. The mechanism was jammed. He wasn't going to ruin her life. That was vulgar. That was imprecise. He was just going to adjust it. Part 1, the subtle discord. Eleonora's new life was perfect. The other man, Julian, moved in. Julian was a concept weaver who believed his oceanic musk was a vibrational aphrodisiac. Eleonora's brand was stronger than ever. She was the queen of minimalist serenity. The first adjustment was small. Arthur, a master of tiny mechanisms, was also a master of locks. He let himself into the marble house on a Tuesday while she was at yoga and Julian was weaving concepts, presumably. He went to her minimalist bathroom. Her prized $200 a bottle, rain-harvested Amazonian shampoo. Arthur produced a small vial from his pocket containing a high-grade, unscented, industrial-strength soap base designed for cleaning clockwork. He swapped 10% of the shampoo with the cleaning solution. The next morning, Eleonora's effortless hair felt like dry straw. It had a strange, static quality, like a balloon stuck to a wool sweater. She blamed the water filter. Julian said her hair chakra was blocked. Next, Arthur targeted the sound. Eleonora had an expensive ambient sound system that played gentle, curated sounds, a babbling brook, a soft wind. Arthur, using a micro-soldering iron, altered the chip. He didn't add a new sound. He just introduced a single, near-inaudible click into the babbling brook file, the sound of a single gear tooth slipping. It happened once every 47 minutes. Eleonora would be filming a morning meditation video, and we breathe in peace, and we exhale. Babble, 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 click, babble, babble. She'd stop. Did you hear that? Julian, busy aligning his crystals, would frown. Hear what, babe? The universe? She started to twitch. Her brand required serenity, but she looked like a woman waiting for a bomb to go off. Part 2. The aesthetic corruption. This was Arthur's favorite part. Eleonora lived by the color greige. It was her identity. Arthur began what he called the campaign of degrees. He snuck in again. The enormous statement piece of abstract art in her foyer? He moved it. He adjusted the hanging wire so the painting was exactly 1.5 degrees off level. It was so subtle it wasn't immediately noticeable. It just felt wrong. Guests would stand in the foyer, tilting their heads, feeling a sudden, inexplicable nausea. Julian tried to fix it. He got out a level. Babe, it is level. It's not, Julian. It's leaning. The level doesn't lie, Eleonora. Then the house is crooked. Next, the lighting. Eleonora only used $50 warm spectrum ambient bulbs. Arthur, who understood frequencies, replaced one bulb in her main living area with a custom-made bulb. It was 99% identical, but its spectrum was 20 nanometers colder. The light in the room was now fractionally, intangibly different. The greige on the walls didn't look like greige. It looked like depressed putty. She started repainting the living room. She painted it 7 times. It's the paint! She shrieked at the man from the hardware store. This isn't Calmstone. This is hospital cafeteria. Part 3. The digital ghost. Eleonora was losing control of her physical space. Now, Arthur went for her digital one. He wouldn't hack her. Hacking was theft. Arthur was a craftsman. He would build a rival. He created an Instagram account. Her account was at eleonora.curates. The profile picture was identical. The bio was identical. Eleonora posted at 9 a.m. every day. Arthur, at 8:59 a.m., would post first. Eleonora would post a perfect overhead shot of her avocado toast. Arthur would post an identical photo, but with one single, slightly brown, mushy spot photoshopped onto the avocado. Eleonora would post a selfie of her serene face. Arthur would post the same selfie, but he used a microscopic filter to make one of her nostrils fractionally larger than the other. Her followers were confused. I thought you just posted this? Why does the avocado look sad? Is her left nostril okay? Sending thoughts. Eleonora's engagement collapsed. The algorithm was confused. It thought she was the copycat. She would post her perfect shot and the comments would be, ugh, another one? This is lazy content. She was trapped in a digital echo chamber of her own, slightly off aesthetic. She would email Instagram, frantic. Someone is impersonating me. The response, we have reviewed the account at eleonora.curates_ and it does not violate our community standards. Julian was no help. Babe, maybe you're the ghost. Did you ever think of that? It's like deep. Part 4. The climax of the cuckoo. Eleonora was on the verge of a full, uncurated breakdown. The house felt crooked, the light was sick, her hair was straw, and her online empire was being defeated by herself. She decided to reclaim her power. She would host the event of the season, a brunch for the top 20 lifestyle influencers. It would be a return to serenity. She posted the invite. A celebration of the authentic. Arthur saw the post. He smiled. It was time to stop adjusting. It was time for the final performance. He knew she would be so busy curating the menu that the house systems would be undefended. This time, he didn't just target one thing. He targeted everything. 1. The oceanic musk. Julian kept his supply in the bathroom. Arthur, using a precision syringe, injected 5 milliliters of pure synthesized catfish pheromone into the bottle. It was chemically similar enough to be hidden by the musk, but it would activate with heat. 2. The menu. The centerpiece was a $1,000 glacier-sourced artisanal ice sculpture of 2 swans. Arthur, using his knowledge of thermodynamics, calculated the exact melting point. The night before, he snuck in and, using a tiny butane torch, altered the sculpture's center of gravity. He didn't melt it. He just imbalanced it. 3. The grand finale. The party favor. Eleonora had 20 gift bags, each containing a $100 minimalist desk clock. Arthur didn't have to break in for this one. He was the clock guy. Eleonora had, absurdly, ordered the clocks from him via a third-party supplier, not knowing he was the source. He'd spent a week on them. They were beautiful, minimalist, and he'd installed a tiny secondary cuckoo mechanism in every single one. The brunch began. The influencers arrived, filming everything. Eleonora, darling, the vibe is intense. The house was warm. Julian, eager to impress, was working the room, his body temperature rising. The catfish pheromone began to bloom. Is she serving fish? One influencer whispered, sniffing the air. Julian, unaware, leaned in. It's a new scent. It's called Abyss. Eleonora, hearing the whispers, panicked. She directed everyone to the ice sculpture. A toast. To authenticity. The sculpture, which had been holding its impossible, imbalanced pose, suddenly gave way. The heat from the room, the slight vibration of 20 people. It was enough. The 2 swans didn't just melt. They collapsed. One swan's head snapped off and landed directly in the $400 bowl of truffle-infused goat cheese dip. Silence. Eleonora, sweating, her straw-like hair frizzing, screamed, "The gift bags! Everyone, please, take your gifts." This was it. The moment. The 20 influencers, disappointed by the swan cheese and the faint smell of a fishing dock, opened their bags. They pulled out the clocks. "Oh, lovely," one said, forcing a smile. And then, exactly at 1:30 p.m., the precise moment Arthur had calculated, the mechanisms engaged. From 20 minimalist clocks, 20 tiny doors burst open. But it wasn't a cuckoo bird. From each clock, a tiny spring-loaded wooden lime wedge shot out, followed by a tiny wooden aogami knife. Cuckoo stab. Cuckoo stab. Cuckoo stab. The influencers screamed. Julian ducked as a tiny lime hit his forehead. Eleonora stared at the 20 clocks, all stabbing the air in perfect, mocking unison. She looked at the knife. She looked at the lime. She smelled the catfish, and she finally understood. The story ends not with Eleonora, but with Arthur. He is in his shop. The next day. The sunlight is streaming in. He is not watching the viral videos of 20 influencers screaming at knife-wielding clocks. He is not reading the articles titled "The Cuckoo Clock Catfish Brunch Meltdown." He is working. He is holding his loupe to his eye, leaning over the intricate, beautiful, balanced mechanism of an 18th century Swiss pocket watch. He makes a final, microscopic adjustment. He winds it. It ticks. Tick. Tock. Tick. Tock. A perfect, predictable rhythm. The stain was gone. The patina was restored. The world once again was in balance.